We're here today with Eugene, Esports Director of Texas Wesleyan, and Michael, Assistant Director. Thank you guys for coming and adding value for international students.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Awesome.
So before we start, for example, Michael, can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you got to being an assistant director in Texas Wesleyan?
Sure. So originally, I actually went to school at Texas Western University as a music education student. So I was going to school for music to be a music teacher whenever I graduated. While I was here in 2018, the esports program started. It started here at Wesleyan, and I played as a player in the Overwatch team as well as the League of Legends team. I focused more on League of Legends or Overwatch. I left League of Legends, but to pursue Overwatch some more. After that, I was a program manager at Texas Wesleyan. For the esports program, I was also one of the streamers for our stream team. Eugene's gonna talk a little bit about the content teams after I'm done. But after I graduated Texas Wesleyan, I went to be a choir teacher, and I did music for around a year and a half before I found out about this position. And so I thought it would be a really great opportunity for me to come back to give back to the program that I dedicated a lot of my time to, and that's how I got here.
That's great. And what about you, Eugene?
So for me, my path was a little bit different because whereas Michael is a young and youthful person, I am a super, super old person. So I graduated from college in the early 2000s, and I competed in amateur tournaments in the main one was Halo, the original Halo on Xbox, and a lot of FIFA from back then. I was really good at old FIFA. I'm not good at new FIFA really.
EA now.
Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah, EA now, the sports club or whatever. But yeah, I competed then, and then when I graduated from college, I've just worked in higher education for it'll be this next year. 19 years. I've been a full time employee at different universities now. Um, so then I was working at Texas Wesleyan as an assistant dean of students back in 2017, and I had a conversation with my boss about I think we just need to do something new and exciting and fun. And even though I've been a gamer my whole life, I wasn't thinking esports or gaming. But after doing some research into what schools were doing, I saw a lot of schools that I'm sure you've heard of, like Maryville and UC Irvine and different stuff, and saw what they were doing, and it was like, oh, that's awesome. And then we kind of built a program around how would that look for us, and then we actually initially proposed it to our traditional athletics department. And they were like, "This seems awesome, but we don't understand this." So they said, "We'll help you guys do it." So me and my boss were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, like Michael mentioned, we started the program in 2018. We were researching it in 2017. We officially launched in January 2018, and I've been fortunate to be the director of esports and gaming ever since then. So one thing that is kind of cool to me, being an old school FIFA player, is that we actually did win a national championship in FIFA in 2021. So that was like a personal career highlight for me, seeing our team do so well in a game that I love so much.
That's great. And now a question for you both, but it's like for first, Michael, like what are the skills you're looking to develop through students in competition so when they graduate from school they can get those skills in the workforce? And Eugene, more like afterwards, if you can answer more like in a holistic view of like the transferable skills you are more most passionate about developing the students for when they go to the workforce.
So the great thing about Texas Western University is that we are educators that are pursuing esports. As an educator, I like to for our teams, we like to kind of encourage the development of soft skills that are transferable outside of esports, such as teamwork, commitment, focus on personal development, time management, things of that nature. Especially because a lot of our students they don't pursue esports outside of our program. So having them develop those skills that can be transferred across any platform they would like is really important to us.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, now to add to that, some of the things, as a bit of context, Michael manages our competitive teams, and I'm responsible for our several content teams, our community teams, and then I do some of the career focused stuff in our program. I teach some esports classes on campus, and we do some career coaching, individualized career coaching for our students. And in addition to what Michael says, I think a couple of the big ones are critical thinking, communication, specifically intercultural communication. We have students from a lot of different backgrounds at Texas Wesleyan that are going to go a lot of different places. We want to make sure that they're able to get connected and communicate no matter where they go. And I don't know the best way to say this, but like doing stuff. Like too often people go to school and they're like, I have a degree, and then they get a job and they're like, what do I do? And like, yeah, you're gonna get trained on your job and they'll tell you how to do it, but like that, I guess initiative is the best way to say it. Like, okay, you have a job, you're facing a problem, what action are you gonna take? So we talk with our students a lot about. We were talking with some students today about this actually. Michael and I were like, it's one thing to go to your boss and say, hey, I don't know what to do. It's a different thing to go to your boss and say, or your coach or your director and say, I'm not sure what to do, but I already tried these three things and I have these couple ideas, but I'm not sure which would work. Like the second one has more initiative, has more an active mindset, and is more solutions focused. So we try to work with our students on that. With that, we try to work with our students on that a lot as well.
That's right. And Eugene, like, so do you offer student positions or like volunteer positions for like students that have a passion or a skill to develop, like in
Yeah.
graphic design? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So our student staff, we have roughly around 10 students that are considered staff members for our department, and they fill a variety of roles. So for a bit of context on Texas Wesleyan as well, we're a small school, so we have around, including graduate students, 2,500 students or so. So the spaces that we inhabit on campus are we don't have 100-person classes or a big auditoriums and stuff. We have smaller. Our tagline for our school is smaller, smarter. So we have like a lot of smaller spaces and stuff that allows us as a department to be a bit more individualized in our approach to both our students and the communities that we build. So, for example, we have some of the stuff you might imagine staff wise. We've had graphic designers, video editors, we've had community managers who host events online and in person. But also, we've had staff members that have been dungeon masters for Dungeons and Dragons on campus. They came up with custom content for our stream, but also did some stuff in person. One of the things that we're looking into for this year, the position hasn't been, I was working on this position posting today actually, but we're going to have an AI specialist. As I know, you know, and everybody knows AI is exploding right now, but there's a lot of ignorance around it. So somebody that can, it's not going to be working on the creation of AI, but someone that's going to be cataloging and researching what is out there. How can we use it for our program? How can students use it? So we can package some stuff around that for um, what does ethical use of AI look like in the classroom? Because I think AI needs to be used in the classroom, but it shouldn't just be write me a paper on this book. It could be used for a lot of different things that are much more meaningful long term wise for learning and stuff. So that's an example of a unique position that we have coming up. But yeah, we've had kind of the normal things you think about. We've had analysts that have helped with our competitive teams and stuff as well. But we try to be kind of creative in how can we pair what our department needs with what the students' interests and skills are to kind of meet in the middle.
That's right. And I've never heard that from any esport program, the approach you guys are gonna make with AI. So that's very
We're excited.
for sure, yeah.
Mhm.
And so also for like especially for incoming freshmen, they have to balance academics, practice, competition. Um, if they're overwhelmed, how do you like make it like? Do you have like study hours? Do you like?
Mhm.
How do you make it, for them to not get very overwhelmed? Because it's not the same coming from high school,
For
how
sure.
they study and compete in high school with how they study and
Or
compete.
even if they studied in high school. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. A lot of the individual attention. Both Michael and I have recurring one-on-one meetings with our students where it's just the two of us sitting down, like Michael and the student or me and the student, and going through how are your classes, how are things at home. Often, sometimes we don't even talk about esports, but like how are you as a person? Are you whole? Are you complete? Are you happy? And then we try to help with what we can and refer out to the things that we can't specifically help with ourselves. Academics is a big thing for us. I know there's a lot of other collegiate esports programs out there that have a GPA requirement of 2.0 or 2.25. Ours is 2.75, the expectation for our students. And we talk about academics early and frequently with our students. Um, Even students that don't make their grades, I've heard of some other programs that say you didn't make your grades, you're out of the program. That's not us. Like when we get somebody in our program, we're making a commitment to helping them and to being with them. So if somebody falls below, we might change what they might not be eligible to compete if they're on one of our teams, but they can still attend practices. We're still helping them, connecting them with our academic success center, connecting them with our assistant director of academic success has been a huge help in this. But some guided like, what are the issues that are causing you to struggle right now? Because it's not the same for everybody. It could be you're taking very difficult classes. It could be stuff at home just blew up and you can't focus on school. It could be any number of things. So we try to identify either us and or the academic success center staff, what is the root cause of that, and try to address that issue instead of looking at the symptoms surrounding that issue.
That's great. That's great. And Michael, like, what is like the schedule of a student player on a daily basis? And when they practice, okay, what do you focus on? Is it every day same thing, or like what are the areas you focus on
Sure.
practice with students?
So, what you could expect from a competitor for Texas Wesleyan esports teams would be 1 to 2 scrims practices a week. We have team workouts that are mandatory because we believe that health is very, very important when it comes to in-game skills as well. Um, with practice, we like to stay away from just playing as much as we can and being more intentional with our practice because you could play for 8 hours a day, but if you don't have the intent of getting better and having specific measurable things to get better at, then it's just a big waste of energy and time. So helping our students working towards a better, healthier practice schedule that is more of them actively thinking of how to get better instead of just playing the game is super, super huge. We have matches every week. We have VOD reviews every week. And so we have a very structured way of approaching the competitive teams.
That's great. That's great. And also, can you? That's what usually like gets the student more pumped. Can you talk about the infrastructure and facilities of your program?
So we have 3 buildings in the esports program. We have what Eugene is sitting into right now.
Three rooms, not
Three
buildings.
rooms, 3 rooms, not buildings. My
Yeah,
bad.
I
Yeah,
just wanted to rewind that real
yeah.
quick.
Sorry.
Years,
Three,
three
three
buildings.
rooms, 3 rooms. Maybe in the future. But right now I am sitting in what we call the white room, which is going to be one of the competitive rooms for Overwatch 2 for one of our teams. Right now, Eugene is sitting in the blue room, which is more focused on staff and community. We also have a room in a different building we call the chambers, where it's one side of the room is for content and creation, and the other side of the room is for our Smash players.
Okay, that's great.
So
That's
yeah,
great.
we have along the lines of that, the space that Michael's talking about. There's a wall dividing it. It's not just like one open room. The Smash side we're setting up right now. It's going to be a new thing that we're fully using this fall, but it's going to have the monitors and the switches connected to it, so the students can just come in, sit down, and play. But on the other side, on the content side, that's where we're going to have our community, our content team meetings. That's where we're going to host some of our we might host our extra live stream, our charity fundraiser stream in the fall. But it's definitely going to be for some of the recurring content that we film, some of the streams, some of the podcasts, and stuff like that. And I can get you some pictures of this stuff too. I'll send them to you later on. But yeah, those are the spaces that we have. To be transparent with that, though, again, with us being a smaller school, we don't have some schools, especially in Texas, have arenas. They'll have 35, 45 computers. The rooms that we just mentioned, in Michael's room, we have 6 computers. In the room that I'm in, we have 7 computers. And these are spaces for our staff or our teams and not general use come by and play. These are like, it's like our basketball stadium or our football stadium, you know. And then the Smash space and the content space, same thing. They're for the students that are in our program specifically. But the spaces are smaller. That's part of our identity as a university as well. Again, the smaller, smarter kind of tagline thing.
That's great. And you both mentioned a lot in this talk about community. You know, so like, how would you describe your community? Because it talks about like how the esports program is. You know, like how would you describe it?
I think, and Michael can probably say better than me since he's been a student in it and he's a full time employee in it now. But to me, and I mean this in a very positive way, I think it's like silly, childish, but like when it's time to get to work, we get to work. Like in our Discord and when we're hanging out, it's all jokes. We're laughing. Like not all like if somebody's dealing with some stuff, we're not like, you know. Obviously, if somebody needs help, we're gonna help them. But like it's a very fun, a lot of banter, a lot of back and forth. But also when it's time, like I'll give you a good example. Last fall, one of the big events we have at the beginning of our every year, it's called Ramboree, one of the big kickoff events for the university. And at the esports and gaming table, we had a couple switches set up, and people were playing Smash, and we were handing out information and stuff. And we're having fun. We're having a blast. We're laughing and joking. And then when the event ends, we're about to go to have a dinner with some new program members and some of our staff. But before we did that, Our staff helped everybody clean up, not just our table. We were going to other tables, helping people break stuff down, putting it back at the front desk in our university center. We did that. So we went from like, ha, 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 to like, all right, people need help. Bam. You taking that back. I'm doing this. You doing that. And then we went and had dinner and hung out for like 2 or 3 hours. So like, it's very like, it's an interesting mix. It's a really healthy and good balance in my opinion. But it's like, that's why I say like silly, like haha, the banter and stuff, but also like when it's time to get down to it, like in practices, it's the same thing. Michael can say as well. Like let's work, but also let's have fun and be ourselves while we're doing it.
That's right. And what team bonding activities do you have, if you have? Because you look like a very like united community. Like, are there any activities you do to like
So, one big thing I love about Wesleyan and why I decided to come back and work here is the community aspect. We have a very, very strong community, and the connections that people make in our program last like a lifetime. Some of the things that we do as a community that's really fun, even with the competitive teams, we have team dinners that I make mandatory that all the our teammates have to go to. We like to do stuff outside of school. Last year we had one event where one of our program managers invited everyone to go to an arcade, and so people were just playing arcade stuff, playing bowling, just having fun in general. Sometimes we just like to sometimes just organize a time for all of our players just to go out to eat together in the university center during game or after games, before games, just things like that. I found out that through my experience as a player and a student here, that the things that happen between games and outside of games are more meaningful to me than the stuff that happens in the games.
That's great. That's great. And also, like, what if you guys have like a stronger bond, outside practice? Then when you compete, it shows, and the performance is much higher. So
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. And also, like, do you take students to LAN events, or are you planning on taking students to some LAN events? Because like usually students in the meetings, with the families, they're like, so it's only online, or do universities also take players to like LAN events
Mhm.
to have this in-person experience?
Yeah, so I'll share on this one just because I have a bit more of a longer perspective with being here since the beginning. We go to all the really local LAN events that we can. We're very, very fortunate with our location being in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We're about 25, 30 minutes away from the Esports Stadium in Arlington, which is like the largest esports stadium in North America right now. The one they're building in Philadelphia might be bigger than it when they build it, and there's one in Canada they're working on. But right now, we have the biggest one in North America down the street from us, and they've hosted events in the past. When Michael was a student, we took part in an Overwatch event there where we placed. It was a Battle for Texas Overwatch event back in 2019, I think, and we got top 8 in Texas. We've gone to events at the NBA 2K Mavs gaming facility. We've gone to some stuff at some stadiums in Irving, in Plano. So like we don't travel to different states and stuff. That is one thing we don't do. But we're fortunate that there's a lot of stuff that we can go to, especially on the Smash side of things. There's weeklies every night of the week, and we try to build in for our Smash team like once or twice a month at least. We go as a group to these weeklies, and the students also go on their own. But we try to go represent as a group. So we don't know what lands are coming up this year. COVID changed how that looked. So during that like year and a half, 2 years, the live events locally slowed down a lot. But I'm hearing a lot from Optic and the different teams that are nearby that they want to start doing some more stuff. So we're optimistic that we'll be able to do some this year.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And just to wrap this talk up, like, where can students find your program on social media?
Pretty much all of our stuff is TexWest underscore esports. So
Mhm.
TXWES underscore esports. That's our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok, our Twitch, all that kind of stuff. Now, one thing I will say about activity, it does get low during the summer, but it picks back up during the school year because we don't run our social media. Our students do, and when our students are gone over the summer, we give them time off. And then when they come
Yeah.
back in the fall, it's like let's get back to it.
And the
But
social
TextWest
media
underscore
users
esports.
in
Huh?
summer are all also not very active. So,
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah.
so yeah, sure.
So yeah, TextWest underscore esports.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, and I'm staying in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.